Hello, Greg, my man. It's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
Doing great. Thanks so much for having me, Elisha.
Beautiful. And thank you so very much for being here. You see, I truly appreciate you, my man. And you see, Greg, oftentimes I love to thank my guest for two things. And I do this so often to the point where it has become my anthem. So, firstly, I want to say thank you so very much, Greg, for investing in yourself. You see, you are on this platform right now because you did invest it in yourself. And oftentimes, my man, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. You see, Greg, some couple of months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I use the word unattractive because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, my man, just recently I was on that same road. And this time around, a lot's changed about the mango tree. You see, the mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance. And immediately I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did. And it wowed me because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches. And not just mangoes now, Greg. I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such a lovely experience that day. I was so excited. Here is my point. You see, the fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing Greg that you are today, that alone has made it really impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you got the request from me to be on the show because I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing. Your insights, your philosophies, the impact your work is having, how you're offering your solutions. These stuffs are beautiful. And just before I sent you that request, Greg, I said to myself, I've got to benefit from these beautiful things Greg is doing. Not only me now, but even with the audience. And here we are today with the amazing Greg. So thank you so very much for doing that yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said nope, there was nothing Elisha could do about it. Thank you so much, my man.
Elisha, thank you for giving me the platform to speak about my truth today. I appreciate it.
Beautiful, my man. So let's get started. You see, I'm quite excited to have you on the show today, Greg, for two reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information. And you see, my man, ever since I realized that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness ignorance, I've been so keen to knowledge seeking because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. And the second reason I'm excited to have the amazing Greg on the show is for the sake of the audience. They say, Greg, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got a lot of information flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality, high opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced, my man, that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So, for that reason, Greg, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or your professional journey, because right now we are so curious. We want to know how Greg got here. Then, afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Greg, over to you.
Okay. Well, thank you, Elisha. I am an executive coach and I have a very special lane I run in. I teach executives and other people how to have the most difficult conversations of their life. And so think of the conversations you just don't want to have. I wrote a book called Build New Bridges: The Art of Restoring Impossible Relationships. And that all began because years ago, I had a lot of relationships I needed to clean up. I never thought I'd be doing what I'm doing. And then when I found a group that wrote a book at the time, well, they hadn't written the book. It was called Crucial Conversations: Tools for Talking When Stakes Are High. I actually found the group in the training before they even wrote the book, but that really made a difference in my life. And I ended up getting to train the program and sell it for a while and became an associate of Crucial Learning. And one of the things I decided to do to live what I taught was I wanted to practice what I taught. And so I thought, how can I actually practice what I'm asking people to do? So I had this crazy idea. I'm going to make a list of all my incomplete relationships. Now, when I say an incomplete relationship, think about you're walking down the hall to go to your office and you see someone you do not want to pass. So you've got a different alternate route you could take to your office. I take that other route. That was a relationship I needed to clean up. I had a list of 36 different people on that, and it took me 2.5 years to do it. And so my book is from my experiences of going and cleaning up and practicing what I was teaching, but it's also the last 24 years of coaching those after I actually cleaned those up as well. So, and the other thing is, I don't have a lock and I'm not perfect on communicating. Just not. No one is. There's always levels we can grow to. But I wrote the book, Build New Bridges, because what I found when I taught Crucial Conversations, an amazing course. I taught crucial accountability, crucial influence. People would have aha insights that, oh my gosh, I see the world very differently. And an aha insight, a breakthrough insight can happen in a moment, but it's not permanent and sustainable unless you practice over time. It's the application of what you learn. And typically what I found was I would go out of a training and people have these great insights, and I'd come back months later and talk to them, and they weren't using it. They had forgotten about it, or they used a little of it. And so I created a program, which is the true application. It's a 20-week program over a 6-month time frame. And the reason I did that was because I saw that people needed help. They needed ongoing coaching. They needed hand holding. They needed support to be able to know how to apply what they learned. And some people say, can't you do it quicker? Well, you can probably microwave a lasagna in about 3 to 5 minutes. But if you want to bake a beautiful lasagna, it's going to take some time to put it
I tell
together,
you.
to do all that, to bake it. You can't rush it, because as human beings, we learn things over time. What if someone were to ask you, okay, you got 5 minutes to learn how to drive a car? Well, I've been sitting next to my parents then growing up. I know how to drive a car. No, you don't. You have the knowledge and understanding, but you don't have the application. And it takes time and awkwardness and an ability to make a shift around that. So that's what we do with people. We also work not just with executives, Elisha. We've just created a new leadership program for the younger generation. People who are maybe a senior in college or in a gap year after, maybe their first 2 or 3 years of professional life. We're actually going in and training them the same program, but designed for the younger generation, but to teach them the skills that actually seasoned executives are having problems with today. We felt like if we could train the younger generation, we could actually have stronger leaders in the future.
Amazing. And that's so true. That's so true. You see, we can easily predict the future by studying the status of the kid's mind right now. The quality of their mind right now can tell us how the future will look like. And that's a smart one. Number one, I love your approach. I love it sounds so effective. And the fact that you coupled all of these things and those resources and the programs, it's amazing. I love it. Thank you so very much. So let's say we've got someone listening who's got this, issue with their kids and they ask questions like, how do I fix my relationship with my kids? What would your response be?
Well, it's interesting because I've got stepkids, and we're constantly working on relationships. So don't think there's any pinnacle you get to. The question is, am I getting better each time? And I find one of the things we've got to learn is getting on the right topic. Typically, when we're talking with kids, we're talking about correction or direction, what they need to do. Are we talking about our relationship? Are we talking about how we build trust and respect? One of the things I find so often for parents is that when they are raising their kids, you need to have different levels of agreements and conversation. We miss out on agreements so much because this is our family, this is how it runs. Well, we make so many assumptions, that's where things go south. And so we've got to make sure we do something different. And when we do this, what we have to do is make sure we have agreements going along. So, for instance, if your kids are in junior high, how can we look at what agreements do we need to have in junior high? It changes in high school. What agreements do you need to have in high school? They change. What do you need to have agreements when children leave the nest or go to college? Different agreements that you need to have. And we don't take the time to do that. And when we don't take the time to do that, it actually can get in our way, shuts us down, and we have terrible relationships as a result because we can't talk about the things we need to discuss.
You've talked about fixing relationship problems with kids. Now, what about with parents? For folks who are having issues with their parents, how do they fix their relationship?
Yeah, I think as kids, you do the same thing. You need to talk with your parents about what respect looks like. How do they define it? How do you define it? What kind of expectations can we turn into agreements? How do we want our relationship to look going forward? I see so many different situations. I run into family businesses where they want the kids to take over, but the kids don't want to take over. That's a whole conversation with your parents. If you don't want to take their business over and they prepared you your entire life, that's a difficult conversation to have and maintain the relationship. And so, is any of this simple? No, it's difficult. But when you learn the skills, you can get better at it. And what I'm going to suggest is it's always going to be hard. And we typically put these conversations off. And each time we put them off, they don't get better, they get worse. And you're back at the same space. You're still going to have a difficult conversation. I would rather have it up front than actually wait a week, even because a week of waiting actually increases your stress. You lose sleep. You obsess over things in your head. You don't know how to fix these things or work on what needs to be worked on until you have the conversation. And so if you put it off a week, you're a week behind. Some of your audience have probably put them off for years. And that's just it. Even after years, you still have to go in and engage with it. But if you have the skill sets to do it, a different reality can ensue. Because that's what I talk about in my book, Build New Bridges, is that of the art of restoring impossible relationships. Well, what is an impossible relationship? Impossible relationship, as I define it is an inaccurate and limiting belief, and it's based on a poor past experience with a person that you believe that person cannot be talked with logically or effectively. And so that locks it in. My bad experience locks it in, and it was a bad experience because neither party had the skill sets to do it. And it was also defined by explosive emotions. So if I have explosive emotions and neither party knows how to deal with that, we're both going to show up at our worst and we're not going to have a resolution. But if you just add that piece of having the skills, knowing how to manage your emotions, knowing how to develop the relationship, a different reality that seemed impossible can become possible over and over and over. Always? No. There's no absolutes in relationships. But what I've seen a majority of the time, when we show up as our best, the other person will actually begin to show up as their best. Maybe not in that first conversation, but I've seen people walk away and they've done their best. 2 weeks later, the person calls back and says, you know what? Let's talk again. Because when your behavior doesn't become an issue and the person can't point fingers at you, they then have to look in the quietness of their life at their own behavior. And that's very convicting for most people because most people want to show up as their best. And when they look at that, they go, wow, I didn't do a good job there.
Oh boy, you see, now I see why you're so good at what you do. You've got some incredible insight, my man. So we have two more to go. You see, I remember one time like that when there was this person, we had some issues and it almost led to us keeping malice with ourselves. But I didn't allow that, okay? So I reached out to him, all right? But before I could reach out to him to have a conversation, I read series of books to boost my confidence. I was trying to get confidence to go meet him and have that conversation. It took a while though, even though I later did. So for folks now who might also be in that situation, and they'd be like, okay, how do I find the confidence to, have difficult conversations or to hold difficult relationship conversation? What would your response be?
My response is first, get the knowledge. You got to get the knowledge and self awareness. Put the knowledge in, and it's by reading books or taking courses. If you want to take a course, you can call us up, talk to us about what we do. But there's crucial conversation courses out there that you can actually take. I support their work 100%, and it's a great 1 or 2 day class. And we use that material, but there also needs to be consistent follow up with that. So the first thing is get the knowledge and then get the practice. Whether you have a mentor or hire someone like me or a coach, someone who really knows what they're talking about. And some of the books I'm going to suggest are mine, Build New Bridges. The other one is Crucial Conversations. Another one is a book called I Meant Well by Heather Linchenko. I'm reading this. It's one of the best books I've read. It's very different than mine. It's more about the learning of it. There's also another great book called The 15 Commitments of Conscious Leadership that goes through all the things I've been teaching for years. It was interesting when I heard this book, and I listened to a lot of books as well. I thought, thank goodness someone wrote this because now I don't have to write it. I was like, some people are like, well, I know this. No, I've been teaching it for 20 years, and they put it succinctly in a beautiful book. And we use that as a guide for some of our people as well. But get yourself plugged into a group that you can practice with, that can actually guide you, because these conversations are hard. But what I found is most people are willing to do hard things if they find it's worth it. And I can promise you, each time I've seen these, it is worth it to be able to do these things and practice it.
That's so true, and I got that. So to bring this to an end, Greg, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those folks who would like to make a purchase of your book, open your programs or services, or even ask you questions, how can that be possible?
Yeah. My last thought about make sure your relationships are a priority. If you do not make them that, everything else, the distractions we have in the world will take over, and you'll look up one day and you won't have the relationships that really feed your soul. You'll be locked into social media or television. There won't be a real connection. I encourage you. Everything really happens in relationships. So make sure you cultivate that, learn about them, be a continuous learner about that. If you're wanting to know about some of our programs, or if we have something, or if we don't have something for you, I'll know someone who does. But you can always go to our website, and that's alignment-resources.com. Don't forget the dash, alignment-resources.com. And you can get a hold of me or my business partner, Noah, at greg@alignment-resources.com or Noah at alignment-resources.com. It does a lot of work for me, and so I can do a lot of the coaching that I do. But Noah's 24. He's done all of this work. Talk to him. He is a rock star.
Awesome.
He's going to surpass me by miles in his life, because
Amazing.
he learned at such an early age. He's been working with me for several years, and we have mentor-mentee relationship, and he's my mentor. I'm learning from him more than he'll
Amazing.
ever learn from me.
I
So
tell you. And your words, these are the words of a true leader. You see, you said he's going to surpass you. That's how true leaders speak. Oh man, it's so nice to meet you once again, Greg. Thank you,
nice
my
to meet
man.
you, Elisha.
Awesome.
Thank you. And I also want to say real quick,
Yeah.
all of this, none of us makes it alone. And I am a Christ follower, and Christ is giving me the direction of my life. I like people to see that rather than me just say that. But that's the other thing, folks. If you ever see me not living what I'm teaching in the world and you run across me, pull me aside and let me know, because my goal is to be a practitioner. Doesn't mean I'm perfect, but you
Hmm.
have full responsibility and full expectations for me if you pull me aside and say, hey, I didn't see you treat this person well, or you didn't do this. I just let me know, because my goal, I won't be perfect, but I'm always open to feedback.
Always, always. I love that. That's a beautiful one, my man. Thank you so very much. So that's going to be the end of the show, Greg. Thank you for coming and thank you for sharing those beautiful stuffs with us, my man. It means a whole lot. You see, I'm excited because I've just learned some beautiful stuffs, you know. Thank you, my man.
Thank you, Elisha. I appreciate it.